Welcome to another episode of Doctor to Doctor in the chat room. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on this here Saturday. Thank you for coming back. We always appreciate you guys coming to hang out with us for a little bit on Saturday. So I want to start off in our normal way, just kind of reminding you guys we're still in this pandemic. Things might be getting a little bit better, hopefully. Can you believe we came up on year 2?
Yeah.
And it seems crazy. I remember when we first went on shutdown back in March 2020, I remember thinking, this is not gonna last very long, right? We're for sure by, April, maybe by the summer, things will be back to normal. And then summer came, things were not back to normal. Fall came, winter came, 2021 came, and we were still not back to normal. So here we are, 2 years out, still trying to fight this thing. So let's just keep that in mind. I know we all have pandemic fatigue, but let's just keep in mind those safety precautions. Wear your mask, get vaccinated if you can. Don't congregate in, huge crowds. Let's just all do our part so we can get back to whatever life will look like on the other side of this.
Yep.
Dr. Shaw, how are you today?
I'm well. I'm still on a high from last week with Canion and all the rawness of it, and just let's put it out there and tell it like it is, right?
Yes.
I'm so happy that he is back with us. We knew 1 hour would just not be enough time with him.
No.
So yeah, no. He made it happen, and we say thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
My pleasure.
So, Mr. Canion, thank you for coming back.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you having you here, and I'm sure the audience really enjoyed you last week. Why don't we start by telling the audience, kind of, again, giving them a little bit of bio, who you are, how you came into this, how they can contact you. I know you've got a website, so just kind of tell us a little bit about who Canion is.
Well, I'm a personal development coach, personal development and relationship coach, who help couples and singles navigate the complexities of modern day relationships so that they can live a life of abundance. That's who I am. That's what I do. I've been coaching in relationships for over 10 years now. I've been personal development coaching for over 15 years now. And how I got into this space was, 14 years ago, my wife and I were headed to divorce court. And I told this story, and one day we were arguing like cats and dogs. She couldn't stand me, I couldn't stand her, right? We just couldn't coexist in the same space. And I remember one day in the heat of an argument, my wife said, can we just leave, just go out together? And I was like, why? For what? We can't get along in here. How do we get along in the car? Mm-hmm. But something in me said, okay, I'll try anything. We drove out. She was looking out of her window. I'm looking out of my window. Right? And I never forget it. She said, I'm hungry. Like, I was hungry too, y'all, but I didn't want to act like we were going to eat together. So I said, I don't have the $7. I didn't have the $7 on me. I don't know what it was. I didn't have my wallet, something, I don't know. So she said, pull into this Wendy's parking lot. And we pulled in the Wendy's parking lot. I mean, not the parking lot, drive-through, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. We were going through, and I would never forget, we got this little Happy Meal that was like, $2.99. It was like small fries, small little cheeseburger, and a drink. And it was $7 just covered it. But when we drove through the drive-through, she said, pull over in a parking space. And I was like, for what? I was looking just like that, for what?
You still bad too.
Right. And but I did it. And she said, listen, she said, we're not in a good place. You know it and I know it. She said, but let's sit here until we figure out what's wrong with us. We stayed there 2 hours and 37 minutes. Wow. And we figured out some things about each of us. And what we figured out was we came up with a conflict resolution system that really saved our marriage. And at that point, I realized, shortly after that, I realized, not right then, but it was over a year later, I realized that we could help other couples. I could help singles, and that part of my existence was born because I realized that, you know what, other people, we could save some relationships. And we've done that. So I'm super excited about it. And now I'm helping women primarily. I help men too, but women primarily because you know what? They just don't know what's going on. Guys, we are not as difficult, but I teach them the game. I teach them how men think. Because I used to be the guy who would lie, who would do whatever, say whatever to get whatever. I was that guy until I wasn't that guy. Notice what I just said. I was that guy until I wasn't. I was a wretched man filled with no integrity years ago. And then I became a man filled with integrity. So I know both sides. So a lot of women are making mistakes. And I'm here to rectify them. If they're willing to listen.
Right. Tell us where people can reach you.
So you can get me on my website at www.coachkencanion.com. Or you can get me on, you can find me on all social medias, Instagram, TikTok at Coach Ken Canion, and then Facebook at Ken Canion. You can find me. I'm everywhere, y'all. I'm everywhere. Yes, you are. If you go to my website, CoachKenCanyon.com, you can get the card game we talked about called The Moment of Truth. All you gotta do is hit shop on the website. You'll see all my products, all my books, card games, everything.
Dr. West, before you move into this, he said something last week, and if you recall, he mentioned something about, being loved unconditionally, and it made me think, but we didn't get a chance to go into it when we had the girl talk, and all the ladies were talking about being loved unconditionally. So you say unconditional love does exist, is that right, Dr. Love?
I think it exists, yeah. But I think it exists. However, I don't think they know what that means.
Okay. And that's the reason why I brought it up.
Yes, people don't know what that means. So when they say unconditional love, why do we have so many conditions on our love? I'm gonna follow if you do this, if you do that, if you do this. I'm gonna stay in it if you do this, if I do this. So what we do is we use the term unconditional love, but we place conditions on the unconditional love. Now, how contradictory is that? I'm gonna place conditions on something I say is unconditional. I mean, that in itself, the dichotomy of that doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. But we do it to make ourselves feel better about our being.
I think one of the things that came up during the girl talk was, okay, so if we're talking about unconditional love, I think one of the
she would love his view, because she basically said what he said. She said we keep talking about unconditional, but we keep talking about all the conditions that we need in order to love. I mean,
So when is that something you help couples with from the beginning stages, or like individually, or how do you help people come to that understanding?
That's a very good question, Nicole. First off, I always say you can only love someone to the degree that you love yourself. And many people are going into relationships. They're going into relationships looking to get their cup filled. They're looking for someone to love. They just want to be in love. They want somebody to love them, but they don't really love themselves, right? And so because they don't love themselves, there's going to be a void in the relationship. It's going to be, has to be. And so I start with the individual first, because all of us come with baggage. I often say, the truth of the matter is, can you carry my bags? And can I carry yours? All right, we all come with baggage. You know why? Because none of our parents or grandparents were perfect. We've been in dysfunctional home. We've seen molestation. We've seen this. We've seen a lot of different things. And we bring that perspective to a relationship. And there are a lot of areas in our lives that remain unhealed. that we have not healed, we have not dealt with, we have not done any work on ourselves, yet we want to get in a relationship with another person. And so you bring two people who are unhealed, all hell's gonna break loose.
Problems with our, daddy problems, mama problems.
Unresolved trauma.
Indeed. And so that's why, that's where I started. So even when I do couples therapy, so the difference between me and a therapist, I always tell people, they say you're a coach, right? I say, now I do some therapy. Now there are therapists, and what a therapist does is great. A therapist helps you identify what you're feeling based on what's happened to you or what you're feeling at any given moment, okay? Work through your feelings, okay? I do that too. All right, I just dissect what it is wrong. But then once I get to the part of, I know what's wrong. We know what's wrong. Now we got to fix this. Where I can't let you stay right there. That's when if I need to kick you in the butt, if I need to yank you, pull you, whatever, that's when I'm like, that's where we're going. And it's going to hurt getting there, right? And we ain't going to stay here though. And that's the difference in what I do. So I start with the individual, even with couples. When a couple comes to me, I said, I'm going to meet with you individual as well. So it's almost like we're gonna work on the coupleship, but we're going to work on the individuals too. Wow, we working.
Yeah.
And the individual ain't going to know what the other individual doing.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you ain't going to know. You ain't going to be able to know.
Okay.
It's not my story to tell.
Right. Wow. Okay.
It's a little unorthodox, but it worked, y'all. I'm great at this. That's why I know this is my purpose. My purpose is to empower people. I've been doing it a long time, but I understand I understand the truth of the matter is there are people out there giving advice to people and they're broken. It's almost like you're taking advice from broken people.
Yeah.
And a lot of these relationship gurus out here on the internet, they don't even have a great relationship yet. You go into them to try to get a great relationship.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And so I always tell people that what you seek. I mean, I couldn't do this work unless I had a great relationship. Do me and my wife argue from time to time? Yeah. But do we laugh at night before we go to bed? Yes. Is she my best friend? Is she my side piece? Yes. I mean, is she my girlfriend? Yes, and my wife. Yeah. And listen, at the end of the day, it does not mean we won't have conflict because we do from time to time. She tells me I'm stubborn and I tell her she's stubborn. But the difference is I want to work through it. I don't want to stay here.
Yeah. Wow. It's powerful coming from somebody, I think, who has really been through it, right? Who has experienced that, we're about to go get a divorce. And then we sat in this parking lot for 2 hours and 37 minutes and we really worked it out. What other testament is there for somebody who really needs to hear it from somebody who actually lived it?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I tell people, I said, listen, I'm not tripping about, I got more clients than I can. Truth of the matter is I only take 11 clients per year. That's it. I don't take it. I do group coaching, but I will never take more than 11 individual clients. Because what you got to go through, what I make you go through, I can only do 11. What I invest in you, and that's why you have to be willing to invest your time, energy, money. It's not cheap. You got to want to do this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what it is.
So one of the other questions that I had in mind, really based off of what we talked about last week. So we were talking about dating, and I want your take on whether or not people should share information about their mental health when you first start dating someone, or on the other side, should you ask a person about their mental health when you're first dating?
Okay. So mental health is a very serious thing. I think that it is something that you address, but it's the way you address it. And I don't think it's something you address on the first date. No, or the second date. I think you address that when you feel like that this is valuable enough, this relationship may lead somewhere.
Okay.
Because I want you to think about this. Because once you address that, remember what it is, what I told you earlier at another show when I said that what happens is a man doesn't want to share with you unless he feels safe with you, okay? Before I ever tell you about my mental health struggles, I've got to feel safe. And so only time I feel safe is if this relationship is going down that path, then you share, then that's something you ask, okay? That is something you ask. But you on the first date, you like, you don't ask that, you know, at the first date, because I don't feel safe with you.
Yeah. You crazy? Your mama crazy?
Right. Yeah, right. Right.
So after you have, I think I'm learning, after you have, how did you put it, gather the information and determine whether or not this relationship is something you want to move forward with, then you bring in this question.
So this is the way you ask it, okay? This is why you should get my game. Because I would say this is the way oh, by the way, I wrote a free ebook that your people can get on my website, CoachKenCanion.com. It's scroll down and you just get it for free. It's an ebook. It's called Just Ask. 50 questions to know if he's the one, okay? And in that book, I explain why you need to ask questions and what questions you need to ask, all right? And one of the questions that is not in this book, there's an extended version, but one of the questions I say, when you want to ask that, you don't ask somebody, you crazy? You been crazy? Anybody been in an insane asylum? But what you do say is this. So you segue into that. So you're asking a question and you're talking about serious issues and you say, tell me why mental health is important to you or not.
Oh, okay.
Notice what I just did. I didn't say you were crazy. I said, tell me why it's important to you or not. Then they're going to say it's important because you need to find out if the person been through anything like that. And then you would simply say this. You would simply say, how would you handle it if you had gone through something like that? What would you do? See, I did that? Okay, cash out the dog or something.
I love it. We'll be right back on 94.7 FM. We're still here with King Canion. We'll be back in a moment.
You gonna bring us back in?
And we are back on 94.7 FM. We are still here with relationship coach, Ken Canion. By the way, if you would like to solicit his services or buy his games or getting to know someone or purchase any of his books, you can go to www.coachkencanion.com. That's KENCANION, coachkencanion.com. Where were we before the break?
We had talked about so many different things. I think we were on mental health before we took a break.
Well, we were talking about mental health and we were talking about, before the break, actually, the guy was saying his wife never worked and you were asking me about that particular thing. And I said, what works? And I saw that video. I saw that video.
Yeah.
And I thought, I was like, okay, that works for them. She's never worked. Okay, cool. But that wouldn't work for me. That would not work for me. But if it works for him and they've been married 30 years, then obviously there's something right about that. For them.
Yeah.
And y'all, I don't know why y'all can't see me because I keep clicking this camera, but it won't let me. But I'm still with you.
As long as we can hear the expert advice, we're good.
All right.
So here's another question for our relationship expert. Sensitive topic, maybe.
Okay.
What's your idea of, or what constitutes, and this may be different for everybody's relationship, and I think, you might hit us with that. What constitutes cheating? What, in a committed relationship, right? You've already got the understanding that y'all are together, y'all are building. What constitutes cheating for the love doctor?
This is an easy question. If and I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna answer straight up. If, well, no, well, because I can't answer it like that. But I will say this: what constitutes cheating is anything your partner, okay, would deem, if he or she were here, would they approve of what you're doing? Okay, because what's cheating to one person?
Yeah.
Good
Would
answer.
they approve?
No, good answer. I mean, I think that's very important. It's customized based on the individuals and how they see things.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Right, and that's how I would characterize or categorize what cheating is, because some people see, hugging as cheating. I don't. Some people see kissing as cheating, depending on how you kissing, yeah. But it just depends. And then some people think cheating is, you're talking about sexual stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And so I let the people who are in the relationship define that.
What about emotional cheating?
Oh, now that right there is a sticky one.
Yeah.
That's a sticky one.
Yeah.
You know why that's a sticky one? Because people don't see, if they've never had sex with them or if they've never had any physical contact with them, as cheating. But an emotional affair is just as devastating as a physical one. Because you know why? Because emotionally, remember what I said earlier, it's the connection.
Mm-hmm.
Once you connect with the person and y'all begin doing things, sharing your heart, what you're doing is you get intimate. Intimate doesn't mean sex.
No, it doesn't.
Intimacy is based on questions and conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And if we become intimate, once we become intimate, sharing, talking about our feelings, this is what we're doing. Now, is that considered cheating? To some people, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Some people it is. And so what would you say? What would you say, Dr. Shaw, is that cheating? If we've never touched, we've never been physical.
I'm so glad he didn't ask me. Jesus.
Oh, I'm coming to you. Don't worry about it. What would you say, Dr. Shaw?
Absolutely, I would say it's cheating because, especially with me, I'm thinking about the person that I am and how I'm far more sapiosexual. And if you have mentally, if I connected with you in that way, I'm going to want to talk, the more I talk, the more I'm going to want to talk, right? And the more I'm going to want to share, and the more I'm going to want you to share with me. And although we may not have ever touched or even became face to face with each other,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's been all phone conversations and texting and emailing and all of that. But if I am putting myself in an emotional and mental space where I am sharing with the person the way I would share with my partner that I'm having a committed relationship with, I am without a doubt cheating. I should not be doing those things. And to me, I don't need anybody to ask him, well, how does it make you feel? Do you think it's cheating? No, it don't matter what do you think? It's cheating because I should be doing it with my partner.
Committed person.
No one else should have.
Let me ask you a question.
That access. You know what I'm saying?
But hold on. All right, so let me throw a wrench in that. So you are not talking to your partner. You too busy with work. You got this deadline, that deadline.
Oh, it's really cheap now. I ain't even talking to my own partner. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Because so he's cheating, and you don't want to talk to him. You won't have any conversations with him because you're out doing your own thing. And then he's talking to somebody else. And they're not talking about, anything. I don't know, but they're having a conversation about his fears, his desires. Is that cheating?
About his what?
You won't talk to him.
His fears and desires.
Yeah. They're not talking about bumping and grinding, talking about his fears and desires, and talking about and he's talking because you won't talk to him.
Won't talk.
It happens every day.
Oh, it does. I know situations where people aren't getting, what they need. So, you know what I'm saying? So they go get it somewhere else. But I still say it's cheating. I say that because here's my philosophy. If I'm not getting what I need in the relationship, resolve it and move on.
But what if he tells you that he told you, but you still busy with work? You got this doing, you going to this meeting, you doing this, you doing that. He done told you. He told you.
That he needs me to slow down and talk to him?
He says, "Oh, I don't get to talk to my wife anymore. We used to laugh. We used to you come in late, you wrap your head up, and you ain't doing nothing. You ain't getting none."
Okay, yeah, he needs to probably go on about his business because I'm not making time. I mean, because somebody that you love and that you are connected to in that way, you don't make time to, whether I wrap my hair up and get in bed and we have the pillow talk. Or
I said you're not making time. I'm saying if you were not making time, you get into bed because you got off work late, you got all these meetings, your career is bumping, you this doctor that everybody want in the high demand, and he's not getting talked to.
So your question is that still cheating if he has told you where the problem is and you don't fix it? Is that still cheating? Is that your question?
Yeah, that's my question. And he has not talked about sex or anything. They're just sharing.
Okay, so
you don't have to talk about sex to cheat emotionally. Go ahead.
I agree, and I don't think it doesn't make it the situation any better because you have told me, right? You technically if you go out, if you say, I'm not getting physically what I need at home, I'm not getting what I need at home, I'm not getting what I need at home, right? And she or he does not change it, and you go out and do something, that is still cheating. Now
the person needs to go on about their business because that person doesn't want to be. That's what I was getting at. That person doesn't want to be
in the relationship,
not for the right reasons.
Or
they would change.
No, that's not true.
Okay, tell me how.
That's the misnomer, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true because what happens is, why should he have? But hold on. Why should he? There's a book called His Needs, Her Needs that I've read. Mm-hmm. Why should he, if he's told you his needs, okay, why should he have to go about his business because he's told you his needs, but you're unwilling to meet them?
No, I think, I think Dr. Shaw was saying the other person who won't meet the needs to go on about their business.
Okay. No. I was talking about, okay.
You about to have Mr. Ken jump through this.
I was like, wait a minute.
He was like, what? What?
Yeah, okay. But then, and then the person, a lot of times, we get involved in other things and we take people for granted, not intentionally, but we've been together, we're familiar with each other, and this is what we do. This is what we've been doing for years. And the other person slips away. We're not intimate anymore. Mm-hmm. Remember, intimacy is asking questions and conversations. We're no longer intimate. Now, we might have sex, but sex is not intimacy. Right. Sex is the result of intimacy.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Woo, that was a heavy one.
It is.
So, okay. So we're talking about emotional cheating, which, is different, but maybe just as harmful, maybe even more, I guess, depending on the relationship.
Sure.
I have heard a bunch of times, and you tell me whether you think this is true or not, that women typically might have an emotional affair and that men typically might have the physical affair. Do you think that does that feel accurate?
I think there's some validity to that.
Okay.
I think there's some validity to that because remember, the woman wants to connect prior to having sex. And by the time she has sex, she's connected.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a man can see his coworker and he want to hit, he wants to have sex because, she just sexy or whatever and go home to his wife, but there's no connection.
Mm.
So, I mean, it happens. Because by the time a woman is having an affair, and I don't want to generalize every woman, by the time a woman is having an affair, she is probably either connected to that man, the new guy, and disconnected from her husband or boyfriend or whatever, or on her way to the connection and on her way to disconnecting.
So a couple that's had the kind of longevity that you and your wife have had. They've invested many, many years in a marriage or a relationship.
Right.
And they come to you and there has been infidelity or cheating in some way, whichever form.
Okay.
Walk me through the process of how you work with that couple. And I know, like you said, you can't generalize everything, it's customized based on the people and all of that. But can you kind of give me some idea of how you walk through that process with them?
Yes. Okay. So the first thing I do is when they come to me, the first thing we have to establish and I have to talk, and the way I ask them questions, I've got to know, are both of them coming to me, or is it just one of them just coming to me and drug the other one along?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I need to know from the rip if both people are committed, even if you hurt him, even if all of that, I still need to know how that started. Okay, how you got to me. All right. Did you both sit down and say we need to repair this? I want to stay together. That's number one. Then number two, we go through the process of everything that the infidelity has done to the other person. So at the beginning, I'm gonna turn Nicole gonna sit here, her husband gonna sit next to her, or whoever, and he's going to say everything that he did. Okay, he's gonna have to say it out loud. He's going to have to admit it. He's going to have to admit, not necessarily gory details right now, but he's got to admit it. He's got to say everything. And then she's got to listen to him saying it. And then she has to tell me what that feels like. What did everything feel? And I ask her everything he said. I break down everything he said. How did that make you feel? And a lot of times she just crying, tears, and he starts crying too. Then I know they're ready. Then I know they're ready. Because what that is, I let them both start with the mirror. And the mirror is let me take a look at the boogeyman, the thing that hurts me, the thing that I'm afraid of facing. We're going to face it right away. And then it can't ever get any worse than that.
Wow.
Do you see what I just did? And then we move down the road from there.
Wow. So the one of the really, scary things to do in a relationship is to confront all of that stuff.
Yes.
And I think sometimes our first reaction is to, like I said, avoid it, sweep it under the rug, act like it didn't happen. And so you put these two people in a room with each other and make them do the complete opposite of what they probably have been doing at home.
And that tells me that they want to get away from it.
Yeah.
Wow. That tells me you want to heal from it. Because if you don't want to face it, you can't change what you don't acknowledge.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of the doctor. Now believe me, it's not easy work. It's not easy work. Especially infidelity. It's not the actual infidelity. It's the betrayal behind it. It is the idea that everything that we've done without giving. It's the story that you tell.
Yeah, we're at break. We're gonna be right back. And we're back on 94.7 FM, still here with Canion, the coach, the relationship coach. So I'd like to know, so do you ever have any people, you say you work with mostly females, that come to you and say, you know, I've been single a long time. I keep meeting seemingly the same types of guys. Maybe it could be guys that don't want to commit. I don't know. You know, is there something wrong with me? That just want to work through a process of knowing who they are and how that may have impacted where they are in terms of their status.
So are you asking me, is something wrong with them? Or are you asking, are you saying that's
not so much is wrong with them, but just maybe if they're trying to see, are they approaching the process the wrong way? You know, because for instance, you mentioned on last show how the 2 C's, you know, collection and connection.
And connections.
So,
okay.
You know, maybe women that have been single a while and, you know, struggling with meeting what we call the right guy, and, you know, and they're thinking that maybe I'm approaching this process in the wrong way. Maybe it's something I'm doing or not doing where I'm not connecting with the right guys.
Okay, and so you're absolutely right. I do break it down. I say, well, let me say this to you. And they don't want to hear this part. I say, if you're attracting the wrong guy, there's something in you okay, that has a need to attract that kind of guy. Okay.
Can you explain that?
Okay. You know I am. So what happens is, and I always say, well, tell me what kind of guy you attracted. Well, you know, he's this way, he's full of drama and all of that. And I say, well, what happens when you get with the guy? Well, we argue all the time. I said, well, then you're full of drama. I said, what's happening is you're attracting the same energy that you're putting out. Okay. Now you don't see it that way because you're not looking at yourself. And then what I tell people is, okay. I said, number one, I said, if you're attracting the wrong guy, there is something about the guy you're attracting. There's something about him that does something for you. All right. So the case in point, I had a woman the other day who says, I keep getting guys that every time I keep wanting to fix them, and then you know I keep wanting to fix it. And I said, so I broke it down. She said, what she said was, I keep getting guys who are not put together. They got all kind of problems and this and that. And I said, you know what the thing is? You're attracting guys that you need to fix, because you get validation when you can fix him, when you can make it right, when you can solve the problem. By the time she was like, that's me. I said, she said, that's me. I said, because you're getting validation from the guy once he's fixed. That's what you need. You need somebody to need you.
Wow.
And so when I broke it down like that, she was like, well, dang. And that's what it is. So if somebody's attracting the same guy,
did we lose
those guys normally goes away because we identify why it is you're attracting that guy.
Wow. Okay, so then that's I'm guessing where your individual work comes in.
True.
Figure out what it is about you that is attracting that thing that you need, and why you keep getting into the same relationship over and over. Wow.
Indeed.
What would you say, what advice would you give about, where the best place or environment, I guess, for singles to meet other singles? What do you tell people about, I guess, online dating, and what's your advice on where to meet?
So it's funny you say that, right? Right. So online dating is like the club of old. Like, you used to meet people like in the club. But see, the clubs, you're not going to the clubs if you're over 40. Now, if you're still going to the clubs over 40 something, okay, that's another issue.
Different conversation.
But so what I tell people, online dating websites are the clubs of the old. Mm-hmm. That's where the people are. The problem is that you want to meet somebody nice, but you don't know how to navigate it. You don't know how to, decipher the fools from the nice guys, or how do I put myself out there to meet the right guys? Because people are meeting and getting married. And it's funny, I am conducting next week, next month, I'm doing a free seminar, a 3-hour workshop on showing people how to use online dating to find their dream man.
Can we get a invite?
Yes, you're gonna get an invite.
Let me see for myself. Can I get an invite?
Yes, and I'm going to show you, because listen, what you guys don't know about me, here's the part you don't know about me. I am a branding and marketing expert. That's what I used to do before I started a relationship. I am a branding and marketing expert. That's how you guys found me, because I'm branding myself all over this world. That's how you see in my videos everywhere. And so what I tell people is, you can brand yourself. Think about it, a personal brand. When you have a brand name product, it goes out to a target audience. But the people who market that brand knows how to reach that audience. And so what I do, I have a class called Brand You, Attract Him. I teach you how to brand yourself to the audience you want to reach.
Whoa.
And that's what I'm showing you online, because everybody's doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. I'm a disciple to show you how to decipher. And I got this other young lady who's an expert at online dating. Oh my God, we're going to do that. We're going to do one day, 3 hours. We're going to make it work.
So if you don't really know how to navigate, not social media, but online dating platforms, then should you steer away from them? Where should you go to meet people?
No, I'm saying, see, nowadays you can meet this. What COVID did, though, because COVID came along, COVID created a void, because we were all stuck at home.
Yeah.
So you had nothing but online. All right, or you didn't meet anybody because you went to the store, they were masked up. You don't know what he looked like. You don't know what you look like. Right. And everybody just masked up, gloved up, hoodied on. So you don't know. So everybody's not, it's a different dynamics. And so what I'm teaching people to do is, I want to say, all right, you may not be interested in this online dating thing, but this online dating are the platforms that are going to help you meet people that you wouldn't normally meet. And that's just the truth. Now you still want to build your brand, because there are people out there locally that you might meet at the grocery store. I say, when your energy changes, you'll meet people anywhere. But ready though, because that's why my people are ready. They know what to say, how to communicate, all of that. And so, when your energy changes, you'll meet people anywhere. My people are saying, oh, I mean, guys, they hit me everywhere. I done put together 5 relationships. I'm like, but it's your energy that changed.
Yeah.
It's your energy that changed. You ever heard people say this? They vibe with right. The vibe is you know what I'm saying? All right. Well, what they mean by vibe is short for vibration. Each one of us has a vibrational frequency that we operate at. The things we think, the things we say, the things we do. And when your frequency rises, you will attract the people on the same frequency. When your frequency is here, you're going to attract the people on that frequency.
Right.
And so I always tell people, let's raise your frequency. Let's think and feel different. Watch what happens. Different people will come into your life. It's amazing.
Wow. So we've asked you questions where your answer has pretty much kind of been, it depends. And then you kind of break down these scenarios and show us, different sides of it, right?
Oh, right.
I have to preface this question with that because I want to know, how long should you wait before getting into another relationship? You know, you mentioned how we all come with baggage, right? So, you know, with some sort of baggage. So is there a bit of a rule of thumb, you know, for people that have been in a long-term relationship and they break up and they want to move on to the next relationship? How should we handle that or approach that?
When you were healed from the last one.
And that's going to be, yeah, I agree. And we don't know when that, I mean, that's different for everybody.
And it's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the answer, the one answer. When you're healed from the last one. And then you're ready.
How would, again, this is going to differ for different people, but what does that look like? You know, if somebody were like, well, how do I know if I'm healed?
I'm going to tell you. You know, if you ask me a question, I got an answer, right?
Yes.
I got an answer. Okay. So if you love a person, you still love them, y'all broke up, should you get in a relationship?
Nope.
I would say no.
If you hate the person, should you get in a relationship?
Nope.
Nope.
No. So the place that you know you should get in a relationship, it's called indifference. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I always tell people say, Ken, the guys come to me, is the relationship over? I said, does she love you? He's like, no. I said, does she hate you? He's like, yeah, she hates me. I said, you still got a chance to get her back. I said, you still got a chance. I said, love and hate are not very much different. They're both intense emotions toward you. But I said, here's when you know it's over. When the person becomes indifferent. They don't care whether you jump off a building or not. Wow. I said, it's over, move on. And that's how you know.
So you know what, Ken? For me, I always say, and not just in romantically based relationships, but in relationships in general, when things have happened, you know, whether somebody's hurt you or whatever, I always say when you know you've gotten past it is when it doesn't consume you anymore, because you notice when people have been hurt by something, like they talk about it all the time. You know, I mean, you can be talking about the weather and something about that they can include, insert that person, right? And, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you realize, oh, they don't mention that person anymore. They don't mention that thing, or they don't mention that scenario, that incident or whatever. And that is definitely, you categorize it perfectly, much better than that. Indifference is where that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Wow.
That's where it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. When I asked that question, I didn't think there was an answer that good, but you have proved me wrong.
Well, my objective is to clarify stuff that most people don't know how to clarify. I always tell people I make the hard stuff simple.
I got one more for you. You've talked about, you know, the alignment of our, I don't know, expectations or whatever in relationships. I don't know. I don't think that was a word you used, but so how do we set expectations for a relationship? And then how do we manage it? How do we set and manage expectations for a relationship?
How do we set and manage them? I think you set and manage expectations based on your core values.
That's the word, the phrase you use, core values. That's what I was looking for.
So I always tell people, I said, and I break this down. I have a sheet that when I go through my coaching class, I said, tell me, do you know what the difference between a standard and a preference is? And a lot of them say, I'm not sure. I say, well, okay, let me break down your standards and your preferences. So this is how you know. Because if your standard is, these are things that I will not do without. A standard is you open my door every time we get out. That's my standard. Now, for some people, it just might be a preference. The guy that I get with might not do it every time. I would like for him to do it, but I'm not going, it's not a deal breaker. But a standard is a deal breaker.
Yeah.
All right. And so you have to identify what those standards in your life are. Most of us haven't. You know why? Because we rely on how we feel. If you make me feel good, well, I'll put up with that. Okay, I'll put up with that. As long as he make me feel good. You see? And so I take my clients through standards. Now let me see what your preferences are. Well, my preference is I would like for him to make $150,000 a year, but if he makes 75, I'm good with that. You know, that's a preference.
That's a preference.
You see the difference?
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly.
And so most women get caught up in this fantasy situation and they never, ever, ever identify their standards and preferences because most coaches don't take them through that process. They don't know what to do. Wow. They don't know to do it. So that's my dog.
You and Nicole.
He been sitting between my legs. Listen, he been taking it all in. He's like this. You're right, dog.
Yeah, he's agreeing. He's agreeing. It's like, yeah, you got that one.
Right. Wow. But I hope that makes sense to you. Y'all, that makes sense to y'all?
Absolutely.
It does. And I think you're right. I think I know what they are in my mind, but have I ever actually sat down and thought about that, thought them out, said them out loud, made a list of them? I don't know that I've ever done that.
Particularly to distinguish between them as a standard, as a non-negotiable versus a preference, because, opening the door thing is really, that's what my father does. Yeah. It's really not just, it's kind of, instilled in me, right?
So is it a standard or a preference? So let me finish the question. If you met your dream man, your dream guy, and he got everything else, and he doesn't open your door every time, but he supports you emotionally, physically, whatever you need. But he doesn't. Is that a standard? If you got to have that, it's a deal breaker, or just a preference?
So that's what I was getting ready to tell you. I believe that what happens is these things change over time, because that's what I was getting at. Like, it's been so instilled in me, certain things that my father does, like that he taught me, right? And I think, that's definitely a preference now, right? Whereas, in my 30s, it was probably a standard. I literally just sat in the car before, like, what you doing?
I'll wait.
Yeah, seriously.
Wait on it.
And I know we got to go, but I have a really funny story about a guy friend of mine once that told me about a young lady that they had been talking online. They kind of reconnected on Facebook because I think they had gone to college together or school or something. And they were going to both be in town for some type of reunion, and they were going to, connect and blah, blah, blah. And he was so excited about it. He picked her up or something. And they get to the place, and he gets out and he's walking toward, he is halfway to the door, and he turns around and realizes she's still sitting in the car, right? And he said, and she's just sitting there looking. And he said, like, he goes back and, he opens the door to say, "Is everything okay?" Not even really realizing that what mistake he had made in her eyes,
Right.
And he was like, "Is everything okay?" And she was like, "You didn't open the door." And he said it was just downhill from there. And it was just so funny to me. I said, because I know the day when I would have done that, I would have been sitting there like, "Where you going?" Wow. Yeah, we are so glad that you spent 2 Saturdays with us. We thank you, man, so much for doing it. And if you guys want to check him out, go to www.coachkencanion.com. Check out his work, connect with him if you want relationship advice, or if you want coaching for couples or individuals, check him out. And until then, we will see you guys at the Same time next Saturday, same chat channel, same chat time. Dr. West, it's been good.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been good. We'll see you guys.